Hey folks, Landstryder here, and you're watching episode 28 in season 3 of my Nightmare series. I'm in the Crash Landing mod pack by Iskander. This pack is available on the Feed the Beast launcher. Last episode I posed a question about whether you guys thought I should add the Enderio to my Let's Play and just keep on playing with that, with the special configs that I put together for that to be added. And it seemed like the majority of everybody was saying, yeah, let's do it. There's a couple people that said no, that might spoil it, but hopefully they'll keep watching anyway, because it's not going to change too much. Most of everything I'm going to show you is still going to be able to be accomplished through the use of the thermal expansion machines. The main thing that's going to change is the ductwork that runs throughout my base and stuff like that. So, like all of these conduits are going to go away. And they're going to be replaced by thermal or the Ender IO conduits. So that's going to be the main thing. So let's go over real quick what I did between this episode and last. Now, for one, I did a Twitch broadcast in which I basically was working on programming this out here. The program for the food machine is pretty much done. Yeah, actually, it's not pretty much. It's absolutely done. I'm not going to mess with that again. I had to add a few things down under there. I'll show you all that here in a second. And in here, I put together a cyclic assembler. I don't think I've ever done that on, well, I've done it before, but I don't think I've done it on this particular series before. But that's a relatively simple recipe. Machine frame, we've seen how to do that. Redstone reception coils. Had a couple tin gears left over from some earlier crafting, so I finally got to use a couple of those up. But yeah, it's a very simple, relatively cheap, other than the machine frame's kind of a, you can't put it together early game. But yeah, cyclic assembler, and what that allows you to do is craft from a schematic. And one of the other things that is really awesome about a cyclic assembler is it has an internal fluid tank. So if your recipe takes, say, water bottles or buckets of water, or some other fluid, you can pump that fluid into it and it will use the fluid from the tank instead of having to actually put that in the container. So if you hold shift, you can see what's on those schematics. So I have made two schematics for it. One is to make the fresh water, or the fresh, yeah, sorry, fresh water from Pam's Harvest Crafts to be used in the crafting, in the food crafting station out there. The other thing is it will refill my camel pack, so I don't think it's quite ready. One of the things you gotta be careful about this is your camel pack. If you do it the way I did, you see it's crafting it with 4 water bottles and a camel pack. The camel pack in question needs to be below 25%. For it to actually be able to accept all 4 bottles. Otherwise, it won't be able to craft with it. So the reason that I did that is because I'm going to be using this in a future build for my final plans for solving my water problems. We're solving my thirst issues pretty much permanently, forever, no matter where I'm at. So we'll get to that eventually. But let's see, down here, not too much has changed since the last episode. I hollowed out this big hole back here. I don't think I had that in the last episode. So you may guess right off the bat that this is in fact where my big reactor is going to be. I think I mentioned that's where I decided I was going to put it. Instead of, I was going to put it out here, but decided it'll be better back there. So this chest right here, I did another expedition to the city and brought back all this stuff. All this stuff from one run to the city. You can see that I found a drone. The kinetic compressor was actually from the first run. I think you've seen me find that. But I did find a drone in a chest, a whole bunch more smeltery parts and pieces. I even used a couple of the scorched bricks to go ahead and finish off my high oven to maximum size. And you see me gather the reactor controller. I did go back and pretty much gathered the entire, every bit of that reactor that was left. I picked it up. I went ahead and tore it down. I found something else that was pretty cool in that city that had that reactor. There is in fact 2 other reactor buildings in that same city. So if you're looking for reactor parts, and we might have to go back there because I'm pretty sure I don't have enough reactor casings yet. But if you're looking for reactor parts, that would definitely be the place to find them. That city over there, it's kind of off in the westerly direction, a little bit south, just a little bit south, and quite a ways west, about maybe 900 meters, maybe even actually 1,000 meters. Yeah, actually, I think it's more like yeah, between 800 and 1,000 meters over there. You'll see the city, and about 200 meters south. So yeah, if you're looking for reactor parts, that's where to go to find them. So let's get to, well, actually, before I get to crafting and stuff, let's look at this rest of this program that I put together. I mean, this is a big major thing out here. So we look in here. I kind of have it nicely organized, I think, to kind of compartmentalize it. These are all program groups. If we look down here, you can see that I used a total of 173 commands overall in this entire thing. So I have a few little specialty things over here that go through, and then I have the big main program over here, which keeps the garden running when certain things get down below a certain amount of in the chest, it will go ahead and send the seeds over to the planter, which will go ahead and plant those, and then wait for it to grow. Obviously, the harvester will then harvest them, put them back in the chest, and once it reaches a certain level again of or quantity of that food, it will stop sending seeds over to the planter. So that's how that works. I should go over exactly what I did for that. Now, a couple of them I didn't realize. The berries, the peppers, and the tomatoes, those crops don't actually ever get fully picked. Their stalks stay and they just keep producing fruit continuously. So that's something to be aware of. I kind of actually have a couple lines of code or a couple lines in here that are completely unnecessary because those seeds never get fully used up. So once they're planted, they're there. They'll just keep producing fruit. So in the future, I may eventually have to do something to just either take some of the excess out. I've already done it once. Take the excess bell peppers, tomatoes, and blueberries and toss them into the mulcher over there and make some dirt out of them. So or just get rid of them in some other way. But yeah, so those will build up beyond and could eventually overflow this chest, but it would take a long time, especially without using any special kind of fertilizer or anything. So if we look in here, you notice that there's a whole bunch of things in here. Oh, well, actually, you also might have noticed that suddenly I've got food in my inventory I didn't have a second ago. That's the beauty of this. So, say I'm getting hungry and I need food, and I've used up all the food that I had in my inventory. All I need to do is come over and step on this, and you'll see it puts one of each of these kind of meals. I can adjust that. I wasn't sure if I wanted to do just one or what. Oh yeah, you gotta be careful when if you pick it up in your inventory. If it's on your cursor, it's not counted as in your inventory, and it will keep giving you the food. So if we look here, it gives me one supreme pizza, one delighted meal, a hearty breakfast, and spaghetti and meatballs. So that's enough food to last me quite a ways. It should pretty much last me throughout the episode at least. Even if I get really active and do a bunch of strenuous stuff and you burn up some food, run around and stuff, I should be fine. Now that my camel pack's down below 25%, I can go ahead and toss it in the cyclic assembler. It'll fill it back up. I'm going to put it back on. Because that eventually I want to have that all automated so that I don't even have to go over near the cyclic assembler. It'll just do it for me when my camel pack gets completely empty. So that will be nice. So back to the program. Let's look at the program some more. So we start with just a trigger. This one's a 1 second trigger. It goes into a flow splitter, flow control, which splits it in 5 directions. And then here we've got some seed stock. This one just controls the garden stuff. So what I did was I wanted to say I'm checking in the inventory. You always have to give it a target whenever you're checking an inventory. So this particular one is for potatoes. So it's looking at potatoes and it's seeing if there's at least 32. If there is 32, then it would be true and nothing happens. If there's less than 32, it's going to be false, and then it's going to go on to the next condition. The next condition looks at the planter and says, is there a potato there? Is there 2 potatoes there? So if there's 2 potatoes already in the planter, that is like 1 potato that's going to be planted and 1 potato waiting to be planted, then it's going to be true and nothing's going to happen. But if there's only 1 potato in the planter, and let me show you something real quick about the planter. If we look in the planter, I have consume stacks off. So these will it'll always leave at least 1 item in these slots. So if there's only 1 item in that slot, it will go ahead and move on. And that'll be because it would be false. It doesn't have 2, it only has 1, it's false. It's going to go to the input down here and go look in the gold chest, grab 1 potato, because I specify amount, 1 potato, and then go ahead and put it into the planter. So the next time it looks, if it didn't get that potato planted, it's going to, skip it again. So yeah, and these are all pretty much exactly the same, except the potato is a little different. You notice it's missing this crafter option. So if we look at this next one, which one is this? This is for the soybeans. It's good. This is a good example because soybeans don't have a bush plant type stock that stays there. They do have to be completely replanted every time. So same 2 things for the condition, and again, inputs, same thing. It's going to look in the chest and grab 1 out. But instead of going straight to the output, it's going to take that soybean and it's going to craft it into a soybean seed. And then that soybean seed is going to go ahead and get put into the planter. Now, one thing to note when you're doing this crafting recipe, you need to make sure that your output, that you in fact well, the side might matter depending on the inventory that you're dealing with, but you need to make sure that you whitelist the item that it is being crafted into, or it won't work. At least that's what I found. So that's just something you need to know about that. So that's all for the plants, for controlling the garden and keeping the stock in the chest for however much food I wanted to keep on hand. I basically wanted to keep it somewhere between half a stack and a full stack, and that seems to be worked by telling it to go ahead and replant when it goes below 32, and then by the time it goes ahead and harvests all that stuff, it doesn't usually go much back up over a stack. You can see the lettuce is still left over from the initial seeds that I threw in there and stuff. So same with the spice leaf. I haven't used up a ton of those yet, but they're used in less meals. So let's look at the seeds too. Is basically the same exact thing, except it's using. What am I doing over here? Oh yeah, I had to add a. I think this is where I just kind of threw in the cheese, where it makes cheese, because I ran out of other space in the other program groups for all of the other subcomponents for the meal. So if we look at the components here, again, a whole bunch of things. It's checking for what I'm doing here is I'm checking the inventory, checking the gold chest to see if there's at least a minimum of 5 of these various subcomponents that are needed to craft the meals. So cream, I didn't label all these very well yet. Here, let me go into I think it's this one that does have labels. Yes, here we go. Juice. So see that I'm checking to see if I have 5 blueberry juice, and pretty much I used 5 for most of the things. Juice, dough, smoothies. I didn't finish this one yet. Didn't rename all. There's where it crafts a fried egg, and you can change the names on all of these by just clicking the little button up here and changing it. So fried egg, and then click and save, and now that's the name of that step or whatever. So, and then goes down if it doesn't have enough. Say if it has less than 5 of those, it goes ahead and does the input, looks for the various things in the various chests and whatever. Let's look at dough. That's a good example of one that actually requires looking in more than one inventory for dough, because dough, I'm actually got some barrels attached to the bottom of the cable. It just does the downside on pretty much everything. So, but yeah, it needs to get the mixing bowl, the salt, some flour and water. So the salt and the water are actually in barrels. They're not in the chest here. You don't not in there. So then it goes to the crafter, and something you have to do is set these excess inventory. Like all throughout this program, my excess inventory is always the gold chest, because that's the only inventory I'm dealing with. So what that does is if there's anything left over out of the crafting recipe, say like the mixing bowl doesn't get consumed, the non-consumed things will go back into that chest or whatever inventory you tell it to go to. But I'm in throughout this program, it's always the gold chest. So that makes the dough, and then puts it back into the gold chest. Remember, you always have to whitelist it on the output when you're doing a crafting step like that. So on the input, I'm whitelisting the items here, and then I'm making sure I'm only specifying one, because if I don't specify one, it'll pull a full stack of salt out of that barrel down below, and then it'll end up putting it back because of the excess inventory. It'll end up putting it back into the gold chest, and that gets messy. So we don't want to do that. So now, if we go down, I'm going to go down here and show you what I got going on under here. So I have 3 barrels of materials that I'm going to take that I'm going to be needing a lot of for up there that doesn't grow in the garden. Salt, which I get from sifting, snowballs, which I made with the glacial precipitator, and water, which I made using the cyclic assembler, and I just had it pump into this to this barrel. I actually used up my entire drum of water to fill that up, and then I've been working on filling that back up later. And also down here I have a redstone furnace. A redstone furnace is actually used to cook the toast, because toast is used in a few of the recipes. For that, it has to make bread first and then turn that into toast. So let's look at how it does that real quick. Pretty much these are all about the same. You know, all the little subcomponents. It checks for an amount. If it's not, doesn't have enough on stock, it goes ahead and tries to make one. Same with the other components. Those are pretty similar. And the meals, those get a little bit more complicated. A couple of these meals actually have 2 steps. To make pizza, to make a supreme pizza, you first make a pizza and then you add some other stuff to it. I think that's what this one is. Yes, this is spaghetti meatballs, isn't it? That's the output here. No, that's the supreme pizza. So yeah, you first have to make a pizza, and then the pizza goes back into the chest for a moment, but then it gets immediately pulled back out and put through another crafting step to make a supreme pizza. This one over here is the spaghetti and meatballs. So I believe this one's the delighted meal, probably. Yes, delighted meal. This one is the breakfast, and then these 2 are the more complicated ones that have like the 2 steps. But all the subcomponents for these are pre-crafted in the other program groups. But anyway, I was going to talk about making the toast. Toast is a little different. Let's go through these steps. Now, I cut this out because was to make the actual flour, but then I realized I needed to keep flour on hand for other things, so I just cut that out and didn't get rid of it, didn't delete it. So probably could delete those 3. They're not doing anything because they're not attached to any kind of trigger. So first thing it does is it's going to check the inventory, the gold chest, of course, always, for a certain amount of toast, which I believe I have it set to 5, right? Probably 5. Yeah, 5. And then if it doesn't find the toast, actually probably should turn that up, but to 10, because there's 2 different meals that require toast. If it doesn't find the toast in there, or doesn't find enough toast in there, it moves on to this other condition. And this condition is checking the redstone furnace down there to see if it has toast in it. If there's already toast that has just been made, it goes ahead and takes the toast out and puts it back into the gold chest. And then, later on it'll try again. Now this trigger is actually less than 1 second. It's 5, or more than 1 second. It's 5 seconds, because that's probably about how long that oven takes to cook a piece of toast. So I don't want to be continuously checking, because I might as well give the oven time to work. Now, if it doesn't find any toast in the oven, then it looks to see if there is instead bread in that oven. If there's bread in the output of the oven, if that's true, then it goes ahead and takes that bread out of the oven and puts it back into the oven. Or here we go. The output, see, oven. Now, there's something to note about these with when you're dealing with a thermal expansion machine. When you do the target here actually matters. So I'm actually checking the downside, but I'm actually pulling it out of the downside, but I have to put it back into the top side. See, the up is what is activated on the output. And the reason for that is because that's the way I have it set up in this machine, that the top side is the input and the bottom side is the output. Now, if I chose any other side for those actions, then it wouldn't be able to see or be able to function the way it needs to. So yeah, if it finds bread in there, it just goes ahead and puts it back into the oven to make toast. Now, if it doesn't find bread in there, false. If it doesn't find bread in there, it goes ahead and makes a, let's see here, it's an input. It's going to go ahead and make a piece of dough. Crafter, this is dough. Makes that dough and then goes ahead and puts it into the oven in the first place. So that's how it makes toast. So all those little variable conditions. Checks the oven. If there's toast in it, it goes ahead and takes it out. Well, first it checks to make sure we have enough toast. If I have enough toast, it doesn't do anything. If it does have toast in the oven, then it goes ahead and puts it in the inventory. If it doesn't have toast, it goes ahead and looks to see if there's bread in there, and if it has bread, it takes it out. If it doesn't have bread, it goes ahead and makes bread and puts it in. Or go ahead and make the dough and put it in the oven, and then that eventually will become toast. So yeah, that's the whole toast process. Burger process is a little different. This is just a big string. So initially it makes a burger. Where is it at? So the condition up here is to check to see if there's enough of the deluxe cheeseburgers, because the deluxe cheeseburgers is one of the components in one of the bigger meals. If not, then it goes ahead and it goes through the entire crafting process of making that, which the first one makes a regular burger. Then it goes ahead and adds the cheese to the burger to make it a cheeseburger. And then it goes ahead and adds the lettuce and tomato to that to make it the deluxe cheeseburger, which is what the original condition was checking for. Again, I think this trigger is on a longer interval because it is dependent on the toast, so it doesn't need to try and make them too fast or the toast supply will not be able to keep up. And then this one is probably interesting. This is the soy. This is how it makes the various soy. So first of all, I'm checking to see how much soy I have, which is the firm tofu. That's the only thing I'm checking because basically the way the components get used up, if I have enough tofu, then I have enough soy milk and all the rest of that. It's been fine to just only check against the tofu amount. But this time I'm actually keeping 32 tofu in there because there's all these other recipes revolve around tofu. Like the breakfast uses tofu, the fried egg is actually fried tofu. Like all those recipes use the tofu and not real meat. So I keep a lot of that around. And then it checks, first of all. So if there's not enough tofu, it goes ahead and looks in the presser to find out if there is any. What is it looking for, first of all? It's looking for any of these items. If it finds any of this silken tofu, firm tofu, or soy milk in the presser, and I think it's checking the bottom side, yeah, the downside. If it has any of those, if any of those true, then it goes ahead and takes out any of those items out of the presser and puts them into the gold chest. So that's how. And then, if it doesn't find anything waiting in the output of the presser, that's false, then it goes ahead and checks something else. It says, is there any silken tofu in the chest, in the gold chest? So because I don't need silken tofu, that's a kind of a halfway step. So if there is a silken tofu, that means it just finished processing a bean, and it needs to go ahead and take that silken tofu and put it back in. So if it's true, it goes ahead and puts the silken tofu back into the presser. Now, when it puts it in, it goes into the upside of the presser, not the sides or the downside. It has to go in the top of the presser. So if it doesn't have any tofu, or doesn't have any silken tofu, then it goes ahead and finds a soybean and goes ahead and puts that into the top side of the presser. Upside presser. So there we go. That's how the whole tofu thing works. So it keeps 32 tofu available, and it's fairly simple, logical steps down through that. Yeah. So finally, the last little thing here is the Supplier Program group. If we look at that, this one's pretty simple. This is just basically a five-way or a flow control that's split 4 ways. I'm not using the middle one, so and it's just basically checking the inventory of the advanced inventory relay to see if it has one of these meals. Basically, it's checking for one of each of the 4 different types of meals that it creates. If it doesn't have that meal, it goes ahead and outputs one of those meals back into the advanced inventory relay. Now, the advanced inventory relay is what is actually interfacing with my inventory. So it's basically looking in my inventory and says, do you have one of each of these? And if I don't, it goes ahead and puts them in there for me. And that, my friends, is the auto food dispensary. It pretty much does the whole deal. I no longer have to cook food or worry about food for the rest of this series. And there it is. So I hope that I explained it well enough and went through it in detail enough. If you want to see the full, if you want to see me putting it together and working over it and basically doing all that tedious stuff, I did there. You can go check it out on Twitch. So yeah, I came over here because I need water again. There we go. Filled the water camel pack. So moving along, I want to get into some Enderio basic machinery stuff because I want to start tearing down some of these. Well, first of all, I want to tear out all these redstone conduits. That's kind of why they're still exposed, because I want to replace them all. So if you go ahead and get my config files for Enderio, one of the things that I just very recently added was that you can use the sag mill to break down those redstone conduits and get a little bit of your material back. So yeah, and redstone has been a big issue because now I used a lot of redstone to make all those conduits, and now I kind of need it back because I'm really low on redstone and I really need it. But let's get to making the couple machines that I really want to get done. I want a sag mill. So we look at that. It's going to require some obsidians, pistons, and the machine chassis, which I went ahead and I've added the PRC 100 logic circuit to that to make it kind of comparable to the machine frame that the thermal expansion machines and all those use. So I've got most of that stuff all ready to go, sitting here in this chest, I believe. Got, let's see, let me grab up all the, I don't need that just yet. So yeah, all that. And then I need to get, what else do I need to get? I need to actually make this, which is redstone, gold, and copper. Copper, gold. Gonna need, what do I need? A bunch of those. Oh, I need to go get some redstone, which is all downstairs. Oh, good. I've been putting a bunch of dust in there. I went out into the desert a little bit and cleared a few more to the dunes and loaded them up in there. So yeah, I've got a decent, oh well, maybe not decent, but I've got enough redstone to hopefully craft the things I want to get done today on the video. So let's see if I can't get that. There's 2 of them. I'm gonna need more than that though eventually. So I have to go grab some gold from out by the high oven here in a second. I thought I had everything, but not quite. So do I have all the? No, not even close. I need this first, which is going to be some. Well, first of all, drop down here and just throw this in here, and that's for something else I'm working on. And put this dust over here. And is this also? That's also sand. Put that over up in here. There we go. Clear a few spots in my inventory real quick. Yeah, I'm trying to make this right here, right? Yes. PRC 100. I need iron. Iron out of here. Iron. Aluminum. There we go. Iron. Okay, there we go. 16 of those going to be more than enough to do what I want to. Actually, I think I need to do that. Like that. There we go. And then put the PRC 100. No? Must have got these backwards. Is it like that? There we go. PRC 100. Get another one. And another one. There we go. That's going to let me make the 3 machines that I want to get done today. And that's probably going to be probably most of the machines I'll ever need from Enderio because they're fairly versatile machines. Sag mill does pretty much all the grinding and stuff. The alloy smelter can smelt all kinds of crazy alloys, including, thanks to my additions to the Sag mill recipes file, it can pretty much do all of the recipes from thermal expansion, all the alloys from that it can do pretty much for the same cost. So you don't necessarily have to have an induction smelter now if you're using the Enderio add-ons. So back to putting the sag mill together. Do I have all the stuff in my inventory? No, I just need to grab the obsidian out of there and then it should go. And it should shift click in. Yep, there we go, sag mill. There's one of them down. Now the other one I want to put together is of course the alloy smelter. Those are the 2 obvious ones, so I need nether bricks, for which I made some nether bricks already up, which is remember that you can take redstone, put it in the barrel of lava, and then you can get some netherrack, which you can then cook into the bricks and get nether bricks. Now, I probably could have saved myself a little bit of redstone and some lava if I would have went out into the desert and found one of those nether fortress building thingies that are out there. They're all over the place, usually kind of near the cities, but I forgot about them, honestly. So I need more basic capacitors. For that, I'm going to need more gold. Excuse me. Gold. It's out here. And not too bad. Not doing too bad on preparation. A lot of this preparation got done during my Twitch stream earlier when I was trying to prepare get the programming done and prepare for all of this stuff today on this video. It's going to probably go long because I have some other things that I want to. Oh yeah, basic capacitors. 1, 2. I don't know if the other thing requires 2 or not. I'll find out here in a minute when I go make it. So there we go. The alloy smelter. So there's one other machine that maybe not everybody is familiar with that uses Enderio, but there is the painter. And this machine is awesome because this will allow you to paint not only conduit covers to hide all your conduits behind with pretty much any block that's available in the pack that you're playing on that has Enderio in it, but it'll also let you paint fences and walls to any texture that you want. So you can see in here that it says painted fence, painted gate, painted wall, steps. You can also pretty much make any stairs out of any block that you want. And then paint it, and it'll become the texture that you paint it with. Same with slabs. You can slab any block. And I'll get to some of that. So yeah, it does add a lot of possibilities for decorating, because now you can make cool looking fences and gates and walls with any texture you want by putting them in the painter. So painter, can I? No? What am I missing here? Now I'm missing the tin. Tin? I should have tin right over here somewhere. No? No tin over here in this inventory? Oh, I guess I'm going back out to grab some tin. Sorry! Just a few things short. Just a few things short today. Eat that supreme pizza. And then, now I should be able to... There we go. Painter. Got all of the blocks that I wanted. Awesome. Very, very awesome. So, sag mill. I think the sag mill can go there. The alloy smelter can go there. I'm not sure where I want to put this painting machine. it can probably go... Well, I'm going to need to be able to access that. Can I access that from the side? Yeah, I can kind of still get to it from there, so it'll be alright to put it there. Because I can still access this for the time being. This is going to get moved all around eventually anyway, so let's go ahead and configure the top to output and the front to output. And that'll allow these machines to now get power. You see them powering up. That's very good. This one's already powered up. And yeah, so this is outputting power right now, so we're doing okay. Everything's looking good. Give me that niter. Give me that sand out of there. So next up on the agenda, now that I got that done, I'm not going to worry about, well, actually, there's one other thing I want to do real quick. I want to show you how to use these machines to their fullest capacity, or, well, maybe not that, but what I do want to show you is to make binder. You're going to want to get a bunch of binder. One stack's probably going to do you for a while, for at least a little bit anyway. So binder, go ahead and put that stuff away. And then you need to cook that binder up, and I'm going to go ahead and use the alloy smelter for that. The alloy smelter will also function as a regular furnace, so anything you could cook in a regular furnace you can put in there. And when it's a vanilla furnace recipe, instead of doing just one of those, it'll do 3 at a time. So if you're cooking food or turning wood into charcoal, it'll actually do 3 items at a time. So now the output of 3 binders is actually 12 binder conduit, so I need that in order to make some of the other parts that I'm going to be needing to make. So I'm just going to put that away for now. So if we look in here at conduits now, I'm not going to go through making all these right now. I'll do that kind of off camera. But I want to show you what I'm going to be making is these energy conduits right here. Ender energy conduits are the ones I'm shooting for. Now you can probably get away with using the regular old energy conduits. They carry a little over 1,000 RF a tick. The enhanced ones carry 5,000, which is about half of what the Redstone energy conduit carries. It carries 10,000. But the Ender energy conduit carries 20,000 RF a tick, just a little bit over 20,000 RF a tick. So that's twice as good as the Redstone energy conduit. So this is the one I'm going to be shooting for, but it is quite expensive. You can see it takes 3 vibrant alloys to get me 8. Well, vibrant alloys are crafted by using an energetic alloy and an ender pearl. So I'm going to be using a lot of those ender pearls. Good thing I have that mob spawner back there, which I need to fix, by the way. Whoops. To create the energetic alloy is glowstone, which I have quite a bit of, gold, not a problem, and redstone, bit of a problem. That's why I want to be able to get the redstone back out of the energy conduit. So as I make a little bit of this and start placing it, replacing that energy conduit, I'm going to be going ahead and recycling the other energy conduit to get the redstone back out of it to make more of the ender energy conduits. So the other thing is you can see that all these conduits, not just the energy conduit, but all the conduits require conduit binder. The only one that does not is the redstone energy, or the redstone conduit, the basic one. The problem, if you use this, it's basically like laying redstone down, except it gives out a full signal all along the length of it. So you kind of want to be careful about using this if you don't want stray redstone signals. If you want to have your nice targeted redstone signal, you want to make sure and use the insulated redstone conduit, and that'll allow you to direct your redstone signals into specific blocks only where you want it. The conduit switch is a whole other story. I don't use it very much, but it can be very useful. Fluid conduits. The basic fluid conduit, which it uses the quite clear glass, and to get quite clear glass, all you got to do is put sand into the alloy smelter, and it'll produce quite clear glass, which can then be converted into regular glass if you need it for other recipes. But that's how you get the quite clear glass. It's just glass in an alloy smelter. It does have a connected texture. It's very similar to clear glass from Tinker's Construct. So the problem with these type of fluid conduits, they are fine except they observe the laws of gravity. So if you want to move fluid from two places and the destination is higher than the output or from the input destination, then you're going to have to pump a lot of fluid in there, and the excess fluid is going to stay in the conduit until, and it won't actually enter into the other machine, the output, unless you keep pumping it in from the other end. So you can pump it in and through, but it's going to stay full if if you don't have enough to keep just continuously pushing it in, which is fine probably for what I need it for, because it's going to be for the mob essence, which is going to be kind of a powered push system. So that probably end up using these. If you need it to be like really pressurized and go uphill and empty itself out, then you want to use the pressurized version. And the fused quartz requires that you put nether quartz in the alloy smelter to get that. Now you need that for some other recipes as well. So the item conduit, there's two versions of the item conduit in this version of Enderio. There's the regular old item conduit, which moves, I think, I can't remember if it's 8 at a time or something like that. And then there's the empowered item conduit, which moves a full stack at a time. These are good. They also are faster. They have more ability to filter on them, but these will probably do for what I'm going to be using them for the item conduits. I'm probably just going to be using the basic item conduits because I can get where you see this takes the pulsating iron nugget. The empowered one takes a full ingot there. So for the price of one of those ingots, I can get 24 of these. Yes, for one pulsating iron ingot, I can get 24 regular item conduits. But the empowered one takes 3 full ingots to get 8, so quite a bit more expensive for the capabilities. And then finally, there's the ME conduit. This one is basically just allows you to connect your ME systems through the same duct or through the same block space as all the other conduits. So yeah, those ones I'll definitely be using to connect all the machines and stuff in the ME system. So that's about all I can say about conduits. The conduit facade is how you disguise your conduits as, say, in the wall or whatever. You make a conduit facade, and then you put that into the painter downstairs. I'll show you that real quick. Maybe. Do I have? Oh yeah, there we go. Conduit binder. I'm just going to show you this real quick, how the painter works. This is the primary use of the painter. You make a conduit facade. Come down here, and you would put a block, say a block that you want. Say I want it to look like these blocks, these cobblestone brick blocks. I would go into the painter and put that here in the brush slot. And now anything I put in there will be painted with that texture. Now I'm going to paint the conduit facade with that, so that now when I put this conduit facade in the world, it looks just like the rest of the wall around it, but it's actually conduit facade, and I can run conduits through it. Now, when you have a wrench tool in your hand, you can see through them and see what's behind there and what conduits are running through them. So, pretty cool. And I'll get to all of that in the next episode when I come back. All of these conduits should be replaced, but I just wanted to show you that real quick. Oh, I need to take these sapperlings out to let that continue. And I need to take my camel pack and have it be refilled again. There we go. Very good. So, okay. I think that's all I'm going to do with the Ender IO today. I don't want to spend too much time on it. I know a few people are not going to be interested in that. So, on to, well, the people that aren't going to be playing with it aren't going to be interested in that bit that I just did. So, on to the next bit. Now, this is, I think I've said this already, this is all the treasure I got from that run. Reactor stuff. So I want to get this set up. I want to get this started, at least. I may not get it finished, but I do want to get it started. It's going to be over here. So for my reactor, I'm going to want to, first of all, the corners have to be made out of this. I need to put this someplace to keep the mobs from spawning down here. The corners must be made out of this reactor casing. So that's the foundation there, and then I need to go up. One, two, nope, ran out. So I'm going to definitely need more of these. I can go ahead and craft those up because I believe I have the material for all that. I have a bunch of steel, a bunch of graphite, and some yellorium, which I think is all that it takes for the reactor casing blocks. Reactor casing, yes. Let's go ahead and just get a stack of those, as I will need them eventually. And I need these to craft these other blocks that I'm going to be crafting. So, there. Now, one of the things I don't want to do right now is fill in the center just yet because I want to have something else. And you may notice, like when I came down here earlier, I've been getting this niter. I've been getting niter, and I also crafted some blizz powder. To make blizz powder, which is a whole bunch more redstone, by the way, to make blizz powder, you take some snowballs, and I need to make more anyway, so I'm just going to show you how I do it real quick. Snowballs. You put the snowballs in the fluid transposer, and then it takes 2 redstone per snowball, and then you put those in the magma crucible to get the destabilized redstone. It'll pump it over into here, and then it'll convert these snowballs into blizz powder. So yeah, I need to get basically a full stack of blizz powder and a full stack of niter. Now the way to get the niter to make the cryethium, yes. Let's look at that real quick. Cryethium, this stuff right here. And what I'm actually going for is gelid cryethium, but first you have to make cryethium dust, which is blizz powder, more redstone, more snowballs, and niter. Now the niter is the tricky part, really. It really is the trickiest part. What you do to get the niter is you take a bit of stone. Well, you can take the sand, make sandstone out of it, and then you can either pulverize it to get a, let's go ahead and look right here. You can either pulverize it for a 15% chance of getting the niter, and you get 2 sand back out of pulverizing the sandstone, or thanks to the new Enderio, you can do the same. You can sag mill it for the same power, and you're going to get those sand back. You have a small chance of getting another sand block, and you have the same chance of getting niter out of it. So you might get a little bit more sand back if you use the sag mill. Again, if you're not using the Enderio, you're going to pulverize it for the 15% chance and get half of your sand back. And then keep doing that until you get enough niter to eventually produce the stuff you want. Go back up here, and so did I pull? Yeah, I pulled those out. So yeah, you get a whole lot of conduit binder for one stack, or conduit binder for the one stack of the stuff that you cook down. But you'll need it. You need it for like making all your conduits. You need it for making your conduit facades. Yeah, so you need a ton of it. So let me get back down here and finish up this framework. This is just the frame of the reactor. Okay, so, and I want to have that gelid cryethium, at least maybe some of it before I get too far into the reactor. Now, since I have a ton of reactor glass, and I can get a whole lot more of it by going back to one of those cities, I'm going to go ahead and use the reactor glass in all of the sides. I don't think I have to, I'm pretty sure it's okay to use it on the bottom. Pretty sure. So it's going to go in these sides, even though I can't, even though I can't get around to those sides of the reactor to look in. It does make it dark over here, doesn't it? There we go. I'm just going to put this, well, let's see, put my F7 on. Okay, cool. I don't think they can spawn on that glass, so yeah, I don't see nothing being spawnable over there, so I'm okay. I don't need to worry about putting the light back down in there. Before I get a little too further, I need to make some other bits and pieces. Now, the controller is going to be right on the front in the middle here, I think. Well, actually, it's going to be right here. Controller. Then, well, I don't want to put the glass in the front yet because I still need to get in there and do work. But now I need some of the other parts. Now, I didn't get any of the other bits and pieces from the reactor. I'm pretty sure that that's the only part that you get from salvage is the controller. So the other bits and pieces, the other bits I have turbine parts, but those aren't helping me here. What I need to make is some more reactor stuff. I'm going to need to make yellorium fuel rods. Some of those. I'm going to need to make, those aren't too bad. I'm going to need to make these right here. These are important. Reactor control rods. I need 5 of these for the setup that I want to use. So that's going to be PRC 300 logic expansion cards. I am not going to be able to get that done today because I don't have nearly enough circuits. So the other things that I'm going to want to have before it's all said and done is I'm going to create a RedNet controller port. That's not too bad. That's not very expensive at all. Compared to some of these other things. I'm going to need to have access ports. I need 2 of these. One for the input and one for the output. I could probably use just one and then toggle it to output when I need to get the fuel out or get the waste out of it, but I would rather have it just automatically eject the waste into one that was specifically designated for that. So what can I do here to get that going? Let's see, so I need another piston, a chest, some stuff, a whole bunch of stuff. I'm probably way over time at this point. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and craft up the rest of this reactor parts. You've seen the recipes for them, I just showed you, I told you what I'm going to be putting together. And then when I come back for the next episode, I'm going to finish putting this together, and I also have the gelid cryethium, or at least most of it, ready to go because I gotta wait for more redstone. Oh, I'm up to 2 stacks. That's not bad. It's still not going to be enough for everything I want to do. I'm pretty sure. So yeah, and I got to get a ton more niter, which is going to require waiting on these machines down here to process. Where'd it go? It's in the sag mill now. No, that's not. Sag mill's here. Didn't give me any niter. Well, that's a bummer. That's no good. Well, I might have to look into why that happened. But so for now, I'm just going to go ahead and process it in the pulverizer then, if it's not going to give me the niter. It should have, though. Bummer. So yeah, that's where I'm going to wrap this up, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode as much as I enjoyed making it. I'm sorry if I didn't get to everything that I wanted to get to. And yeah, I hope you guys like the Enderio stuff that I put together for the pack. So I'll try not to spend too much time on it for those that are going to not install it. So, and it won't necessarily be useful information for them folks, but or that, or whenever I do use it, I will make sure that I tell you the alternative, the thermal expansion method of doing it. So yeah, look, I'm already getting niter there. So don't know why that's not working. It's supposed to give me niter 15% of the time, but it didn't. Didn't give me any. Bummer. Might have to look into that. So, okay, guys. If you liked it, be sure and leave a thumbs up and a comment. And even if you didn't like it, leave me a comment because it all helps. And if you be sure to subscribe if you haven't yet. If you enjoyed the video. Wow, that's a little one over there, isn't it? So, anyways, I'll catch you later.